I think we're reprocessing our relationship to it a little bit now.
Ariana Grande is reflecting on her time as a Nickelodeon child star amid the fallout of the release of the docuseries Quiet on Set. The pop star appears on the June 12th episode of actor Penn Badgley's podcast Pod Crushed. When asked about her time as a child actor, Ariana seemingly alludes to the documentary when talking about her role on Nickelodeon's hit show Victorious when she was 14 years old, saying she's reworking what the experience was like for her.
We've had different child actors on the show who feel differently. Some who are like, I would never let my kids, I don't think anyone should, and others who are open to it as long as there's like certain conditions on set.
Obviously, my relationship to it has and is currently and has been changing, and I'm reprocessing a lot of what the experience was like.
The Boy Is Mine singer also stresses that environments for child actors need to be made safer.
Yeah, I think that the environment needs to be made safer if kids are going to be acting, and I think there should be therapists. I think there should be parents allowed to be wherever they want to be, and I think not only on kids' sets. I think if anyone wants to do this, or music or anything, at the level of exposure that it means to be on TV or to do music with a major label or whatever, there should be in the contract something about therapy is mandatory twice a week or thrice a week or something like that. A lot of people don't have the support that they need to get through performing at that level at such a young age, but also dealing with some of the things that the survivors who've come forward, and there's not a word for how devastating that is to hear about. And so I think the environment just needs to be made a lot safer all around.
The 30-year-old expresses that she's grateful at the conversations surrounding the industry that are happening now.
In any work environment, I'm glad that this conversation is happening here and also in the world, because it's also just kind of a cultural shift that's happening where it's not just actors and singers and whatever. If you ask anyone who's ever worked ever, if they've ever been sort of like, dealt with a boss that had a really bad ego and temper and whatever, or if they've been sexually harassed or even assaulted, or it's everywhere, ever.
She also notes that some of the humor and innuendos in Victorious, which were highlighted in Quiet on Set, don't sit well with her now.
Speaking specifically about our show, I think that was something that we were convinced was like the cool thing about us, is that like we pushed the envelope with our humor, and the innuendos were like we were told and convinced as well that it was like the cool differentiation. And I don't know, I think it just all happened so quickly, and now looking back on some of the clips, I'm like, that's damn, like really? And the crazy, my daughter, sorry to, I just you think about it, it's like if I had a daughter, it's like, and E! News
has reached out to Nickelodeon for comment, but has not yet heard back. It's the first time Ari has spoken publicly about her Nickelodeon experience since the March release of the bombshell docuseries Quiet on Set. The series explores alleged toxic work environments on producer Dan Schneider's Nickelodeon shows. No Victorious cast members were featured in the doc, though star Victoria Justice recently reacted to Marie Claire, saying something that was very evident in the documentary is that Dan had a very large ego, and sometimes that ego clouded his better judgment and affected the way he treated people. Dan apologized shortly after the doc's release.
Watching over the past 2 nights was very difficult, me facing my past behaviors, some of which are embarrassing and that I regret. And I definitely owe some people a pretty strong apology.
He also later filed a lawsuit against the producers of the documentary, which also covers Brian Peck's child sex abuse case involving Drake Bell, for which Peck served 16 months in prison, alleging the series falsely implied Schneider was a child sex abuser by including him in the documentary alongside Peck. E! News reached out to Investigation Discovery for comment on that lawsuit on behalf of Nickelodeon, Warner Brothers Discovery, Maxine Productions, and Sony Pictures Television at the time, but did not hear back.